Okay, ratios and proportional relationships. So this is one of the first parts in the PARCC test that you will be having next week. So this is one of the topics in the beginning chapters. So a fraction is a ratio, and a ratio is used to compare two quantities. So here is an example of what a ratio would look like. So in the class, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boys to 5 girls. So here you can write 10. And then here it's 5. And a ratio, what it basically does is it uses a colon to compare two numbers in a whole set. So in here, the ratio is 10 to 5 because there's 10 boys to 5 girls. I can also make a ratio of fraction by making this a division sign. So I can say 10 over 5 is the same as 10 to 5. It's the same fraction. Now with this ratio, you can also simplify it because both numbers are divisible by 5. So this 10 can become a 2, and this 5 can become a 1. So that means that for every one girl, there will be 2 boys in the classroom. You can also say that, for example, if there's 20 boys in the classroom, that there would be 10 girls. As long as the ratio is both the same, it all still applies. And the reason why all of this is the same is because they all share a common factor of 2 and 1. A unit rate is a ratio where the denominator is 1. So ratios like this one has a denominator of 1. You can write this as 2 to 1. And in here, you can also have a fraction with a denominator of 1, a ratio with 1 in the end, and as long as there is a 1 in the ratio, it's considered a unit rate. So here's an example that you'd see on a PARCC test. So Barry ran 17.5 times around the reservoir in 1 week. What's the unit rate per day? So this question is a little bit hard, but first we know that a ratio is used to compare two quantities. So already here we know that 17.5 in 1 week is related because in 1 week he runs 17.5 times. So we can write this as a fraction. 17 and 1/2 actually gonna erase this. So 17 and 1/2 over 1 week. Okay, and then they want the unit rate per day. So in 1 week, there's 7 days. So that means in 7 days, he runs 17.5 times. So this also translates to 17.5 times over 7 days. Now it's asking for the unit rate in a single day. So to get 7 days to equal to 1, we have to divide the bottom by 7. And in math, whatever you do to one side, you have to also do to the other side. So if you're going to divide the denominator by 7, you also have to divide the numerator by 7. So if I divide the bottom side by 7, I get 1 day. And if I divide 17.5 by 7 over here, I know that 17.5 is equal to 15 over 2. And the reason why that is because I can multiply the bottom and add it to the top. So 17 times 2 is 34 plus 1 is actually 35 over 2. I can erase that. And 35 over 2 divided by 7, it's also multiplying by 1 over 7. And that's going to be equal to 35 over 14. That would be our answer. So in one day, he runs 35 over 14, which I think is about 3. Okay, here's another example. Kelly paints 36 and 3/5 signs every 3 weeks. How many signs does she paint in 1 week? So we know that 36 and 3/5 is related, and we know that 3 weeks is also related. So we can make a ratio that says 36 and 3/5 for every 3 weeks. And in 1 week, to get 3 weeks to equal to 1, we have to divide it by 3. And if you divide this by 3, you also have to divide the top by 3. And if I have work here on the side, 36 and 3/5 is the same as 36 times 5 plus 3, and 36 times 5 is equal to a 0 here, a 3, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 180, plus 3 is 183 over 5. And if I'm going to divide by 3, I can also multiply by 1/3. And this would equal to 183 over 15 as your answer.